Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced, and what I want to do today is basically just do a full-on example. So we have our DBT project set up, we have Dremio set up. I'm just going to walk you through an example of what we would normally do with, like, let's say in Dremio with the semantic layer, essentially just running SQL in Dremio. But again, it would be on me to make sure that I run that SQL in the right order. So that would be, so the idea is that there is room for human error. If even if I saved all the SQL scripts and had it all pre-planned and all I had to do was just run them, there's a possibility that I might run them in the wrong order. So using DBT, we can kind of avoid this. So first, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set the stage here. So we're gonna have a space called tax collections. So the idea is theoretically we're creating a tax collections data product, and in there we're gonna have a bronze, which would be our raw data. We're gonna have a silver folder, which will land our, sort of our cleaned up data. Well, let me try that again. Silver, okay, and then our gold folder will have sort of our final data, our pristine data. In this concept, we're gonna just basically say this: we have two tables, one for individual taxes, one for business taxes, and we're going to want to clean up any duplicates, any nulls, all that kind of stuff. And that's going to essentially be our silver versions of those two tables. And then we're going to want to join it to have one singular view of the taxes, which will be sort of our gold layer. Okay, so that'll be sort of the story here. So first, let me actually create these two tables. So I have the SQL all here, so all of it will be in the repo that you will have access to in the video description. So I'm just going to grab these tables and insert some values into them. So I'm just going to copy that SQL straight here. Okay, and I'm going to put that in here. Okay, so there we go. Now again, I want to run that in the bronze folder because essentially I want to land this raw data in bronze. So I want to choose tax collections bronze as my context. So that way it runs this queries in the context of that folder. Okay, and yeah, let's just hit run. Oh, what did I do there? Given path, tax collections, bronze and civil is not valid. Why does it not like that? Oh, because it's a space. My bad. Okay, so let me do that again. Okay, so really what I need to do is I need to land the data in a physical source, like a Nessie catalog first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit here and we'll just put it in the output folder. That's fine. Okay, so essentially this is what you would do. I would go land it in the data would physically have to exist in one of my sources first. So okay, there's that. So I'm going to do that. Cool. Okay, that ran just fine. And then what I would do is I would then create a view of that raw data into to the space. Okay. Cool. So let's do that. Let's create some views. Leave. So I'm gonna head over to my tax collection space, create bronze. I'm gonna create a new view. Okay. And we're just gonna basically here again, we're just gonna do the raw data. So I'm gonna say like warehouse, individual tax. Okay. I'm gonna run that. Okay, and you can see that we do have some nulls here. So again, we're gonna want to clean that up because again, nulls can then cause errors in downstream code. So I'm gonna save this as a view and save that in my bronze folder. So I go back to my tax collections here, bronze, and this will be called individual tax. Okay, so we have that now as a view in there. And then I'm gonna do the same thing with the business tax. Okay. And I will run that. Okay, and I mean, I technically could have done this step in DBT as well, but oh well. Actually, we probably should. Okay, so let's do that. Okay. So in this case, again, we have the data here in warehouse output. So basically, we would just kind of work from there. So essentially, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do this in my semantic layer folder because again, I configured that. So again, in my DBT project, see I said semantic layer folder. We're gonna materialize views. So I would create new file. And I would say, hey, bronze, we'll call this individual tax bronze dot SQL. Okay. Then we would have new file, individual tax, business tax bronze. Oops. .SQL, and those are just going to be basically select stars. Okay, so these will be pretty straightforward. .SQL. So this will just be like select star. And actually, I want to first make sure I config it to be created in the right place. So I want to say, hey, config. And the database should be tax collections. Okay, and then the path, or the schema, actually I can get rid of readme for now. The schema should equal bronze. Okay, and let me just make sure that I spelled tax collections right. Tax collections, good. Okay, so that's going to be where this view gets created, and literally all it's going to do is a select star from, and then I can just copy that particular path over here. So I can just literally go here, warehouse, output, individual tax. Just cut that right out. Cut. Okay, and say select star from there. Okay, so there's basically my first one. That one's pretty easy. Okay, and actually technically that should be what's in this file, and then this would be business tax. Okay, now depending on that would be the silver layer. So it would be new file, business tax silver.sql, new file, business tax, individual tax silver. And then essentially here, what we would do is we're going to, again, go back to my README here where I have that sample code. Okay, and essentially what we're going to do is we're going to create this view. Okay, but basically it's going to be this query right here. So I'm just going to, instead of using that create view statement, which was what I would use in Dremio, I'm just going to copy this piece right here. Okay, so this would be the silver one for individual tax silver. Okay, so I'm going to want that, except I don't need it from here. What I'm going to do is I want it to be based on the previous view. So then here is where I would put ref, and then I would put the name of the previous model, so that way it knows it's referring to that model. So this would be based on individual tax bronze. And then again, I want to make sure I configure it into the right place. So I'm going to go over here and copy that config. Okay, and that's going to be in the silver folder. Okay, so basically this will have to run first before it's going to run this. So that way it always runs them sort of in the right order. Okay. Cool. Get rid of the readme there for a second. Okay. And then pretty much should be this is pretty much the same query for the other one. Okay, so that's for individual tax. This one's for business tax. So again, I just want the select query. So then I go to business tax silver, put the query in there. Okay, again, I want that in silver, so I'll just copy this config. There we go. And then I replace this with the reference. Okay, so ref. Okay. And then this was going to be business tax bronze. Okay, perfect. And then that should essentially create that view. Okay, let's see if I see anything that is that should be an expected error. Nope. Okay, and then the last one we'll do is the gold. New file, tax, complete tax view gold.sql. Okay. First off, I'll just copy that config, so that way it's in the gold folder. Okay, And then I'm going to go back to my README, copy the code for that last piece, which is actually right over here, which is this statement right here. Copy. Then I will paste that into here. So then in this case, what I'm going to do is that instead of from individual tax, that's where the ref would go. Let's say, hey, from ref individual tax silver. Okay, and that should be a string. There we go. Okay, so there's our first reference. And then just to save us some time there, we just do this, and this would be business tax silver. And so that will get created from the other layer. Okay, so I had to write kind of do a lot of setup right now, but in the future, these will always write in the right order. And if I need to adjust anything, it's much easier for me to see what I need to adjust, and they'll still be run in the right order. So now let's run this. Just make sure it'll, again, if there's any syntax errors, it'll tell me. So dbt run. Okay, let's see how it goes. Oh, didn't like something. Got an error, no dbt project YAML found, unexpected path, intro the dbt. Oh, I'm in the wrong folder. That's what I did. CD, and again, this one is called, the folder is called Dremio tutorial. There we go. Let's do dbt run again. So you gotta be in the folder with the error. Okay, compilation error, models Dremio depends on a node called individual tax bronze, which is, oh, I have a typo there. So see, I can see there that it's depending on something that is mistyped. So I can read the error, know what I need to fix. Pretty straightforward. Okay, so now I go over to individual tax silver, and I can get rid of the typo. Okay, good. And then run it, see how it goes. So far, so good. I read all the models, didn't give me any trouble reading the models, so that's good. Now it's running the SQL, and it seems to be running all the SQL successfully. Oh, ran into an error, probably on the, looks like on the last one. And it's a finished seven view models. It skipped the gold one. Let's see why. Oh, because I forgot to take out the semicolon. So let me run that again, because you don't need a semicolon in these files. Okay. And it's going to start running them. And they were, oh, still an error in that last one. Let's see what it was this time. Wait, was there a separate semicolon online? Oh, I'm looking at the complex tax view gold. Okay, there's a semicolon here. That's the one it wants me to get rid of. Okay, from... Okay, select all. I mean, that should be all good. Let's try that again. Okay, there we go. We completed successfully. So now if I go back and I take a look at my tax collections, okay, I see there in my bronze, I have my bronze, gold, and I have my silver views. Okay, so imagine you have lots of different data products or lots of different things you need to kind of create these relationships for, or if these relationships go through even more layers than this does. Okay, having this environment makes it a lot easier. Now imagine that someone only wants a view where they only have like two columns, and then later on they want a third column. I can just easily just edit that one model, rerun the models, and now that view is going to have that third column, making fulfilling data requests really easy, or already easier than it is in Dremio, because in Dremio I can already pretty much add that column pretty easy through the UI. So it just takes what's already easy and makes it way easier. So this combination of DBT and Dremio really makes for a powerful way of sort of modeling your data in the same way you would do on a data warehouse, but with the benefit, the flexibility, and lower costs of the data lake. Okay, that's the whole data lakehouse paradigm. So Dremio really gives you that data warehouse type feel with the data lake, again, flexibility and costs. And with DBT, you get the benefits of just really easily modeling your warehouse and creating, doing it through code that you can then version control, because you can commit that to Git and capture all that through Git versioning and use Git for the benefits. And then again, Dremio, when you're using Nessie catalogs, you have versioning of the data. So all those changes that occurred, okay, are all versioned because again, any changes, anytime I make a table, I have commits that get captured in there here in my Nessie catalogs. So you get a pretty powerful mix of features that give you observability, flexibility, and all that stuff. So again, my name is Alex Merced. Hopefully this taught you how to use DBT, give you a deeper appreciation for the combination of a DBT and Dremio. And yeah, I'll see y'all later. Okay, and actually let me just run a query on that gold so you can see that the end result we have no nulls. Because again, in the silver we clean the nulls, and in gold we just join them. So actually, whoops, let me actually run the query against the data set. So go to tax collections, gold, and then click on the gold, run the query, and you can see no nulls because basically the silver layer, we cleaned up the nulls. So in this case, this view was created from the silver layer. So everything kind of ran in the same order. Everything that depended on each other ran correctly, which is pretty nice. So with that, I'll see y'all later.